Are we live?
I'm waiting to get the notification on my face. Oh, yes, sir. We are live.
Oh,
Man,
okay.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a special edition of Off the Record this evening. We have a great guest, a great couple coming all the way from Louisville, Kentucky. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule. And I want to thank everyone who's tuned in to watch the People's Podcast this evening with Brother Minister Jerald and Sister Michelle Muhammad. First of all, assalamu alaikum, you all.
Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Okay, I thank you all for having a conversation with us about such a inspirational and lovely yet serious topic of marriage. Well, how long have you all been married?
24 years.
24 years. Praise be to Allah. Now your husband did let me know that he texted me there earlier, but I did not write that down. But I think let you know he did. He was aware. 24 years. Okay. The first question I want to know is, which one of you all chose on the other one first, or like felt like made a move on the person?
That would be me. I requested courtship. We met at the study group. So.
Okay, yes, sir. And what was it about Sister Michelle that made you want to inquire about her?
I'm still trying to figure that out. No, I'm joking. Her dedication and love for the mission. I mean, she loved the minister. She was always at the mosque. Just really enjoy. I mean, she was at every meeting, just always working, always in a good spirit, and that was the initial attraction for me.
Okay, excellent. And Sister Michelle, what was it about Brother Jerald that made you accept his request?
Well, pretty much kind of the same thing. I love the way he loved the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know, just with the way that he would teach, with his dedication to the study group, and he treated me like no other man has ever treated me before. And so I knew that it was something special about him.
Okay, excellent. Well, Sister Michelle, how long did it take in the courtship process for you to say, okay, you wanted to let your parents know or let your family know that you believe he's the one?
Well, it took me a little while, because in the beginning, I just saw him as Brother Minister. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see him as somebody that I would even be with in that way. Mm-hmm. And so that took me some months. And I was, somewhat resistant. But then I just sat back and I just really watched him, and that made me just really, just give him an opportunity. If you gave other guys opportunity before you were registered, that was not even half of what he was. Mm-hmm. So why not give him, the opportunity as well? So, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Yes, sir. And Brother Minister, what was it about? How long in the courtship did it take you to realize that she was the one?
I knew pretty quick. I mean, I knew right away. I knew where I wanted to go in life as a man in terms of business and my ministry, and I knew I needed someone, stable, someone like-minded, someone of good character. It didn't take me that long to really to make up my mind. Of course, when you get into marriage, as student minister Nuri always says, he says marriage has its own built-in set of trials. Mm-hmm. So you discover things about your spouse and yourself, but mm-hmm. Within a few months, I feel like I knew.
Okay, excellent. Now, speaking of those built-in trials, to single people who hear about these built-in trials, what we'll start with you, Sister Michelle. Come back to you, Brother Minister. What advice would you give us to make us want to go into something that already has built-in trials when you have enough trials in life?
What do you mean by built-in trials?
I mean, there's things that just come up, okay. Parenting, things where you
Okay, I'm sorry. I was just trying to see like where he was coming from with that. Ask your question to me again.
Yes, ma'am. What advice would you give to single people who see marriage as a trial and hear about all the built-in trials? What advice would you give to make people want to jump into marriage, knowing that it already has a set of built-in trials for it?
Well, what I would say is most single people, they are already kind of doing what married people do anyways. When you think of the way people have their relationships, they call themselves boyfriend or girlfriend or what have you, they are already doing what married people do. Yes, and so I don't see what is the hang up as far as like just taking that next step. So some people, they're already sharing bills together, they're already co-parenting together, they go on trips together, just the things that married people have to deal with, as far as finances, as far as your in-laws and things like that. And so to me, the only difference is that someone is saying that I am willing to actually do this with you every day, and I'm going to be committed to you every day, so I guess that's how I would answer that question.
Great, so excellent. And Brother Minister, what advice would you give to single people who see marriage as a trial or hear about the built-in trials to make us want to do it?
Well, you really can't go to the next level in life without marriage. For example, if you want to be a millionaire, you're more likely to become a millionaire if you're married.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Married people live longer than single people. Married people are generally happier than single people over the long haul. Yeah. A lot of us get fun confused with happiness.
Okay.
So Black folks, we've mastered the art of having fun, but we have not mastered the art of being happy. So we haven't been funly married for 24 years. We've been happily married for 24 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And if you look at fun, look up the definition of fun. It's fun is impulsive. Fun is it comes and it goes. Now you can have fun while you're happy, but just because you're having fun doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy. So I think a lot of us we're experts at going out to the club, or whatever we do in our leisure time, and we have fun. But then as soon as that event is over with, we go back to our normal state of mind.
Yes, sir. Okay, excellent. And thank you all for your great responses. And thank you all for watching, everyone who usually watches Off the Record, and for watching us on a Tuesday night special for our couple this evening. Who was the first out of you all to say I love you?
Damn, I don't know. I never thought about that. I don't know. I would say it's probably me.
No.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. We'll start with you, Sister Michelle. What red flags did you have a list of red flags that you were looking for? And if you saw any of those, how did you come to deal with that in your courtship time period?
Red flags. My red flags, I guess, would have been how he made me feel, how he talked to me. Was he aggressive? Was he honest? Did he keep his word? Things like that. And because, just to be really honest, I had like a lot of things from my past that I was still kind of dealing with too. And so those were the kind of things that I was looking for, or just red flags, so to speak. Is he going to be faithful? Is he going to take care of me properly? Things like that. And so those were some of the red flags that I did have, but I didn't have to worry about those because he takes really good care of me.
Yes, ma'am. And Minister, what were some red flags that you had on your list? And if you saw anything, how did you make adjustments to those?
One of the things I've learned from watching and studying the courtship process of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was, take that person to different environments and see how they act in different environments.
Okay.
Something as simple as, okay, we go out to eat. How do you treat the waiter? How do you treat the waitress?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to act like you're nice and friendly with me, but you're snappy and you're rude towards the waitress.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would go to her mom's house, then we would go to my mom's house, or I may take her around my friends and just see how she acts in different environments. Because sometimes, when you just see somebody at the mosque or just at church or whatever, you don't know how that person's going to act, in that particular environment. So that was the thing that I was looking for. Are you a kind person? Are you a basic good person? And the thing that impressed me about Sister Michelle more than anything was her just basic, just good moral character. I remember I had bootleg cable. I don't know if you remember, like back in the day, I paid the cable man $50 to hook my stuff up, and I wouldn't pay. She was like, "No, sir, that's not the way we do things. We're gonna pay for cable, or we're not gonna have it." She wouldn't allow bootleg or burnt DVDs in the house.
Okay.
I mean, seriously, she's like, "Hey, the minister said, hey, we don't do that. We don't do it." So, I'd have to, smuggle a Martin Lawrence burnt DVD in the house, in my gym bag or something, So her character impressed me more than anything. So that's what I was looking for.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. My sister Naima says, all praise be to Allah. Beautiful. My other sister Mimi says, peace, family. Peace, Sister Miriam. Thank you for joining us just a few minutes late. Brother, we'll start with you, Sister Michelle. Sister Michelle, first we'll start with you, Brother Minister. How did you propose?
Yeah.
It wasn't very romantic. So can we skip to the next question? I was real nervous, and I remember I went and bought the ring, and I remember my heart was beating. I just went, I just went to her apartment, and in the middle of the afternoon, I just kind of caught, because I've been wanting to, but I've just been, real nervous. It wasn't anything romantic, or we were at the waterfront, and I had rose petals, and I need some work on that, learning how to be a little bit romantic,
Yes,
so
sir. Yes, sir.
It wasn't your typical romantic, proposal, but we still together. So.
Okay. Yes, sir. Sister Michelle, what was it about? What made you accept the proposal when he proposed?
Well, it's like I was saying earlier. He had treated me like no other man has ever treated me before, and I just had a lot of respect for him, just as being our minister. And so I was willing to try something new, because in the beginning, I was saying, "Oh, he's not my type. That's Brother Minister. How can I be with him?" But he was really sweet to me in the beginning.
Yeah.
He was really
the interview with us, Brother Joshua, is for the real people. You might see an argument here in the next 30 seconds. We keep it real, but one of the things that brothers and sisters out there should know, if you don't mind me just saying, is that we're very different people. We don't like the same television shows. We don't, you don't have to be buddy on every single thing that you do, but the thing that we have with each other is mutual respect. I've had friends that I've grown up with, and they were like this with their spouses. They just did everything together, and a lot of them didn't make it. So it's not so much that you like the same physical things. You just have to be like-minded about basic things, faith, family.
Right, the way you raise your children, the way you believe, and like I said, just his love for the Honorable Minister Farrakhan is what really got me, and really his heart the way that he really wants for his brother and sister what he wants for himself. My husband sells insurance, and he has gotten so many other brothers, so many other men out in the community, men and women, to do the type of things that he is doing, and it has totally changed their life, and I have to remind him sometimes that not everybody has the same type of heart that you have, because he is so giving and really caring that sometimes that really, can kind of hurt him too. And so those are the kind of things that just really, I admire him so much. To me, he is the smartest man that I know outside of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan,
Yes. Okay, wonderful. Okay, that's great. Okay, I got a sister. I'm going to butcher your name. I apologize. Sister Shaniqua Muhammad says, good question. Wow, it wasn't romantic. I heard that so many times. She was talking about your proposal. My brother Rashad Muhammad says, we'll start with you for a minute and then we'll follow up with you, Sister Michelle. What's the best way to stay committed in a world where adultery is promoted and the side chicks and side man agenda?
Wow. That's a deep question. To me, the key thing in the relationship, our blue, is mutual respect. That it's not about who's in charge or who's right or wrong. It's about mutual respect. And she wants my approval, so she wants to please me. But I also want her approval, and I want to please her. So there's mutual respect. And if you don't have mutual respect, a sister should look up to the man that she's courting. She should look up and admire, the person that she's married to, and a man should have that type. My son's sitting here back here trying to make us laugh. So he and his wife are over here. But you have to get them on the show soon, because they are 22 and they've been married 2 years already. So. Yes, sir. So, but yeah, mutual respect is the glue. So if you stay focused on the big picture, and that life changes, and your needs change as you grow. When I got married at 28, what I need now at age 52, my needs are totally different. What I expect out of a woman is totally different. And the same with my wife. She doesn't expect and need the same things, from me. So if you don't adjust and grow, and one of the things that I learned, Brother Joshua, I've got probably 4 or 5 friends that I've talked to and have been friends with for 30 years straight, that call me literally 3 or 4 times a week. But our friendships have changed, because, when you're 21 and my friend was 15 or 16, he was like a little brother to me. But now, I'm 50 something, he's 40 something. So, we're peers. So I had to learn, I can't talk to you like my little brother anymore. You're my brother now. Yes, so, and I think that's what we don't do sometimes. We still want to see people, as the way that they were. So to answer your brother's question, I think the key is just mutual respect. You have to respect them, and they have to respect you. If that respect is there, you can get through the tough times.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And Sister Michelle, I want to repeat the question my brother asked. He said, what is the best way to stay committed in a world where adultery is promoted with the side chick and the side man agenda?
Wow. Actually, that can be really challenging for a whole lot of marriages and a whole lot of couples. You really have to be solid in your faith and really what you believe. And you have to know what it is that you want, like my husband was saying, just longevity. You can have something fun for a short period of time, but is that going to sustain you? No, it's not. And so you are really playing Russian roulette when you're dealing with something like that, And so what looks nice, knowing that that's just temporary because things change. you may see someone who's 24, 25, you know, they're only 30s, but one day they're gonna be 52, you know, and so they're not gonna stay that same way. And you have to really try to see, what is it do you really want? Do you want something that's going to sustain you, somebody who's going to help you to raise your children properly, who's going to feed you properly, who's going to have the right spiritual environment that's in your home? Or is it just somebody who's just going to look good to the eye right now? You know, so I think that if you living right, if you're eating right, if you're praying right, you still gonna look good, you know, the same way that you did, but not the exact same way that you did when you were studying something. Let me take that back. You know what I mean? I look the exact same way, but you can still hold on to your beauty, and really you become more beautiful, you know? So,
you know, Brother Josh, there's a Bible verse that says, the man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Notice that scripture. I was discussing this with student minister Willie a couple of days ago out of New Orleans, and you know, in the conversation I was sharing, you know, with my brother, it didn't say the man that finds a good woman and turns her into a wife. It says a man that findeth a wife. She was already a wife before she became a wife.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think a lot of time, and then look at the next verse. It says, obtains favor from the Lord. So the things that we want, we're not going to get those things, because the favor from the Lord is the path to that is through marriage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Teacher, have mercy. Yes, sir.
Another thing that helped me get married, brother, we had a supreme captain back in the day that he was really strong at encouraging. I'm sure you heard it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, but that was a good thing.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, excellent. Well, my next question is for you, Sister Michelle. Where did you all go on dates, and what do you all still date today?
Well, back then, we can use some work in the dating area. You know, because we were both pretty much like laborers, so we were really just working a lot within the study group. But in the beginning, he would take me out to eat. We would go for walks, and we would go to the movies. And even now, what I enjoy a lot is just going on walks with him. We still go to the movies, and we still go out to eat. But now we have added like little short trips. So sometimes we may go to Florida. Sometimes we may go, like he just recently came back from Savannah, Georgia. So we kind of take little small trips here and there, you know, just to try to keep things going. So.
Wonderful. Okay, and Brother Minister, where did you all go on dates, and what do you like to do for fun together?
Well, as she said, you know, the movies, and you know, as you get older, it's hard to stay awake when you go to the movies. So, you know, if I go to the movies, you know, it's the trial to try to stay awake. Now, like we go to sporting events. We went to, you know, we're, you know, in the Louisville area, so we're big, you know, University of Louisville basketball fans, football. We went to a football game, and we have friends in the community, so we have like really great seats, and you know, sit in VIP sections, and you know, so I'm kind of into that right now. So going to sporting events, and as my wife said, traveling and building memories together. So we were blessed back in the year 2000 to actually travel with part of a group with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a delegation to go to Korea. So we went to Korea in 2000 with a few of the laborers, because we had a relationship here with the Unification Church under Reverend Sun Myung Moon at the time. We had a very strong relationship. So we took about 10 people from the Louisville area, community leaders, preachers, and teachers and whatnot. And it was an interfaith religious conference in Korea. But that was like okay, we flew to Japan, and then we of course they paid for it. That's why we went. I mean, the Unification Church at that time, they said, hey, we got a trip, so we had to ask the minister for permission. So at the time, I remember reaching out to Sister Claudette, the protocol director. I know you remember back in those days.
Yes, sir.
So we were blessed. That was a wonderful trip to go outside of the country, and that was a very unique experience.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, wonderful. I want to say that this podcast episode is brought to you by my sister Miriam's book, ABC I Love Me. It is on Amazon. Also, my brother Rashad, Politically Oppressed, and his business partner Jamal have a video production company called Street Premiere. So if anybody needs video editing, and my second book, which is a children's book, Cleopatra, is on Amazon. Please get it. If you all want me to, if anybody who's watching wants to sponsor an episode and wants us to promote their business, just let me know. J Imagination on Cash App, or just inbox me or text me or DM me, whatever. Thank you all for that brief commercial break. Sister Michelle, how important is it for you to have alone time and together time with your husband?
Did you say what's more important?
So how important is it to have alone time, like the time where you go to do your stuff and he goes to do his stuff and then y'all come back together, or is it important to do things together all the time?
Actually, that's a really good question, and both of them are important to me. Both of them are equally as important. I really like spending time to myself because I like watching my little shows. I like listening to my own, like the kind of music that I like to listen to, which is old school. Jerald likes to listen to hip hop a lot, what's that, New York, like the underground hip hop rap music. And that's fine, but I really like to have my time, but I really enjoy spending time with my husband. As a matter of fact, a lot of our arguments and our disagreements have come about because I want to spend time with him, because he's busy and he has, just other things that he has to do. And so I feel slighted and I feel left out. And it's like, all I want is just your time. And so to me, spending time with him is really the best thing on earth to me, and so, but I really do value my time as well. For years, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I stayed at home and I raised our children. And now, just recently, I'm working outside the home. And so I'm gone most of the day, which is a new normal for our household. And so now I really value my time because I'm always gone. And so when I can have just an hour or two to myself, I really love that. But I really love spending time with my husband. And I don't care what we do. I mean, like I said, we can just go outside and just sit and enjoy the sunset or something. I know that sounds kind of corny, but I really like I just like being outside and, just in nature and just being there with him, or just going for a walk, or just going for a drive or something. I really enjoy that because we have our best talks during those times.
Okay. Wonderful, man.
Plus, I'm easy on the eye too. They call my nickname is Idris Denzel Jerald Muhammad.
Well, Minister, I have a question for you. I was going to follow up with the same question, but now because what your wife said made me switch gears a little bit with side in. For men who like myself and maybe others who aren't used to having women who want to be around us all the time or be on, what I'm saying? Like, how do you, as a man, how do you balance that when we used to just, like, I can't deal, what I'm saying? I just don't know how to deal. Like, how do you teach us, Brother Minister, teach us how to.
Well, brother, that's an adjustment, and I'm still learning really how to be a father, learning how to be, a husband, and sometimes I get uncomfortable, but I'm learning not to run from it. And if we were be a little bit more patient, I mean, my wife has taught me how to love, how to respond, because, we're taught, hey, after difficulty comes ease, and anything in life, that is of value, there's going to be a trial attached to that particular thing. Yeah. So it takes some getting used to, and I think it takes some honest conversation. And I don't think, one thing I don't think, we've never really played games with each other. We don't play little mind games and things like that. You know, we try to have honest communication. But if you have somebody who's your friend, you know, that you can talk to and that you want to be around, if I get good news, this is who I want to talk to. If I have bad news, and as young men, you know, Josh, to keep it all the way 100. And I teach brothers this that I come across in our community work, as well as in the study group and in the mosques that I visit and teach at, that, as I said, what I needed at 28 is not what I needed 52. For example, I was in perfect health at 28. Now I'm a type 2 diabetic. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that was a big emotional thing for me. I mean, it's fine, it's under control, but you know, you waiting on, you know, you sitting at the doctor's office, and, you know, and as men, most of us don't go to the doctor unless we're getting ready to fall over dead, you know. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But having somebody there, you know, by your side, it's those things that makes me tolerate the other times. And then we have to just understand that okay, sometimes the man needs his space, but there just has to be boundaries, right? You know, and I think it just that goes along with honest communication. And then you have to surround yourself with like-minded people that are that have the type of relationship, you know, that you want to have, if you can find one.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, wonderful. And I thank you all for watching. And if you have any questions, please let us know, because Minister Jerald and his wife, Sister Michelle, are doing a great job of answering these questions. The next question is to you, Sister Michelle. How was it with your family trying to get used to you being married to your husband, and how important was their approval, or was their approval important?
It was very important, but they absolutely just loved him. Just anyway.
As they should. And
so they were mainly like, what are you waiting on? You know, when I was saying that I was somewhat resistant, like in the beginning, they were like pushing me towards him, because, like I said, he was our minister. And I, just a little backstory, I was the first one in my family, and when I say my family, I'm speaking of my mom and my two sisters, who I live with. So I was the first one to accept Islam. And so when I went home, you know, I was talking about Islam, you know, talking about, you know, the Honorable Farrakhan, talking about our study group. And so my two sisters, they actually, they got registered shortly after I did. And then my mom, she eventually came in and she got registered as well. And so they all just really loved Brother Minister, you know. And so that wasn't, I mean, it wasn't difficult at all for them. They really just love and have a lot of respect for him.
Okay, excellent. And how did his family, how important was getting the approval of his family? How important was that to you?
That was really important to me. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. That was really important to me.
Okay. Minister, how important was it for you to have your family accept your wife?
It was important, but it wasn't super important. I've been blessed. I have a very supportive family. You know, my father is a vice president of a large of the Baptist Church of the eastern part of the United States. My father's a nationally known Baptist preacher. He's written books, but he supports me. You know, my mother is a devout Christian, retired school teacher. She supports me. You know, so I've been very blessed. So even if in the beginning they don't understand what I do, I didn't really give that, you know, a lot of thought. You know, their concern was as long as somebody's going to treat me well. But the respect they have for her now, I mean, is just it's through the roof. I mean, you know, it's amazing.
It goes both ways.
Excellent. And okay, well, Brother Minister, how important was it for you to have the acceptance of her family?
It was important. You know, I felt that. I felt I had their support before I had her support. So, so you know, that's kind of, you know, a unique circumstance. But I think that's something that people take for granted, though, sometimes, that when you're bringing, you know, two different families together, you know, well, this is just me and you. No, it's not just me and you.
Right.
You know, one of the trials were her and her sisters and her mom. They were all very close. So when we were married at the time, she didn't drive when we first got married, but she would want to go home and visit 2 or 3 days a week. I'm like, we're not going over there to it, you know. And that you know, and now I'm ready to go over to her mom's house quicker than she is. You know what I mean? Like, can we been over there in a minute? So it took some growing thing, but the biggest thing, bruh, is that mutual respect. I just want to keep going back to that. If there is somebody in your life that you respect, and most of the people on here who are single, there's a 95% chance the person that you probably should marry, you already know, and they're already in your life. Yeah. You know, there's a story I like to tell. There's a woman praying to God, you know, God, Lord, would you please send me a husband? Will you please send me a man? And then God replied, I sent him to you 2 years ago, but you keep telling him you want to be friends. You know. So there's a friend, Josh. There's a friend, those out there in the listening audience. In fact, not just your mate, the person who you want to go into business, who can take your business to the next level, the person who's going to be your financial backer in your business. They're already somewhere in your life. But what happens with us, we have blinders on. We don't go to social events. We don't network like we should. Most of the success I've had in business, I haven't chased opportunities. Opportunities have walked right in front of me because I try to have an open spirit. And when you're living in your purpose, you know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you know, teaches us about passion and purpose. When you're living in your purpose, things will begin to come into your life without you chasing it. So just try to live in your purpose, stay in your lane, and just do a survey in your life. I mean, if there's that female that is a good friend, give her an opportunity like Sister Michelle gave me an opportunity.
Yes, sir. Wonderful. That's an excellent. And Sister Shaniqua says, wow. And thank you everyone for watching. My sister Naima says, we'll start with you, Sister Michelle. And thank you very much for your transparency and great answers. Sister Michelle, my sister Naima says, do you have any advice for new parents?
Wow, for new parents, let's see, what kind of advice would I give to a new parent? Just let me start out by saying this. I was a very overprotective parent, very, very overprotective. I didn't let my sons really go over to anyone's homes. I actually kept them, you know, just with us. But for new parents, just keep your children close. What I did for my sons, I read to them a lot. I made sure that they were eating the right foods. I made sure that whenever I would have something for them to watch, it was something that they needed to watch. I would pre-record their shows, like certain things like children's shows, because I just, like at a certain age when they were really young, I never just let them just watch television, you know, just to flip through the channels. I always had their shows pre-recorded, things that I had already wanted them to see. Mm-hmm. Let's see, I made sure that I fed them well so that they wouldn't get sick a lot. I made sure that they had all of their checkups. I didn't do the vaccinations or anything like that. So that's up to each parent's choice, whether they want to do something like that. But I made sure that I fed them all the right foods that we are taught to feed them so that they would have strong immune systems. Like I said, I just taught my children at home. And I don't really know what else to actually say. I mean, I just love them. I love them so much, and just kept them with me, pretty much most of the time, But for a new parent, like I said, just keep your children, watch them, um, pay attention to them, pay attention to how they learn, uh, and I would like to say too that make sure that they have a healthy social life, because a lot of parents, like I did like the homeschooling thing as well, and I wanted them to be really smart, but I wanted them to have a healthy social life so that they wouldn't be socially awkward, because as Muslims, there is a lot of things that we tell our children that they can't do, because you can't celebrate this, you can't do this. But if they are in public school, or if they live in a neighborhood to where they have friends that do go to public schools and that are doing everything else, I would say, like, just pick and choose your battles. Let them do certain things. Let them play sports. Let them have their friends. I never let my children go like trick or treating or anything like that. And I'm saying this now because we are in this season, as far as like, as far as it being October. But I would always buy a huge bowl of candy.
Yes,
and I would tell them, like, you don't have to go out and go door to door. So when they would go to school, they would have their little choice of candies too, and I would wait, or before Halloween or sometime after, I would always buy them some type of little costume. This is when they were really little. They would have like the Spider-Man, the Ninja Turtles, but those little costumes were so thin that they would play around in the house and they would use them for pajamas.
Yes, sir.
Basically, so find a way, to include them, but still teach them too, so that they don't feel like they are just left out, So that's something I guess I would, say to a new parent.
Praise be to Allah. And my sister, Sister Myra X Hickerson says, yes, ma'am, teach. Brother Minister, I want to repeat Sister Naima's question for you. She said, do you have any advice for new parents?
Any advice for new parents?
Same question.
My wife's an excellent mom, and I've learned how to be a better parent, honestly, from watching her.
Sorry.
Okay. I think one of the biggest things we can do as a parent that I've learned is I'm very accessible to my children. I always have been. I've been blessed to be self-employed, so whether it's picking them up from school or games, practices or whatever, but to really observe. One of the biggest things we can do as a parent is to observe the natural gifts, skills, and talents of our children, and then nurture them and put them in an environment where they can thrive based off of the talents that Allah has put in them, and not for something that we want them to do.
Right.
So, for example, I'm in these, I have a business, and I want my son to be in my business, but that's not what he wants to do. That's not his passion. I mean, he works in it, but that's not his passion. So I have to support him in his passion, but I would guide them to the sports I wanted them to play, and what position I wanted them to play, and make them go to training and get argue with them. But that's one of the things I admire about you, that you inspire me, because I feel like that you're a Muslim, but you're being yourself.
Right.
So when the master said, accept your own and be yourself, that doesn't just mean just a black man in America, but accept you and be you.
Right.
Be the person that Allah wanted you to be. And that's really the beauty, is when we can see the differences in each other. And when you see another human being manifesting their God-given talent. I mean, to me, that's the beauty of Allah, to watch people do what they do. But the biggest advice I could give is just nurture your child. Look at their natural, skills and gifts, and do what you can to nurture them. I think Sister wanted to follow up on that.
Yeah, there's something else I wanted to say too. Is really like listen to your children. Like I don't know what age range
Yes.
her children are, but when they're younger, like babies, of course, pay attention to them. But when they get older, I've always let my sons know that how they feel matter, that you are free to express yourself. Now, mind you, if I am disciplining you, that's not the time to say, I don't like how you discipline me. But I have given them the option after the fact. If they come back to me and say, Mom, when you did this or when you said this, that made me feel this way. So I have always wanted them to be open with how they feel, and so and really just raising male children, letting them know that their feelings matter. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be happy and joyous. So I try to teach them the right way to respond in each of those situations, and so when you really listen to your child and let them know that you really care about how they feel and how they feel really matters to you, because some parents, they're quick to kind of shut them down. What I say go. I don't care how, because what I know best. Well, sometimes what we know is not what's best, because we make a lot of mistakes as parents. And so sometimes we have to be open enough to just sit back and listen to your child and, as to how your parenting has affected them, and so that's something that I have always tried to give to my sons.
Praise be to God. Excellent. And thank you all for your transparency, your great answers. And thank you all for continuing to watch. A lot of people have liked the episode. Next, we're going to start with you, Brother Minister. What has been your greatest trial in marriage, and how did you overcome it?
For her to realize just how great and wise I am. Why did it take her so long? If I have to say my biggest trial would be, I don't know. I would think I have to be a better listener, and me not really listening. And I think that I have not validated my wife's feelings like I should. So like what she feels doesn't matter, because, but before I got into ministry, I was in radio. I had my own radio. I was the news director of the radio station. I had my own radio talk show, and I had one a couple of years ago. I just got so busy that I stopped it. So I'm always used to just talking to people, lecturing, getting off of the rostrum, assalamu alaikum, and jetting out the building back to my office. So you hear what I gotta say. Yes, and I even have issues, with people that work for me or with me, or dealing with other believers in the mosque or whatever. I have to be a better listener, and I have to do a better job at validating feelings. And by me not validating her feelings or even my children's feelings, it creates another set of problems. So, but I think sometimes as men, we can't really accept the truth. It's hard for us to sit still and just sit there and face our wife or face our children, because when she tells me this truth, I'm gonna have to deal with it. So I'm just gonna shut her down. But that's not a good thing. So I think my biggest trial is just learning to be a better listener. And then I guess my other biggest trial has probably been, we bumped heads on parenting. Parenting. I'm way more liberal.
Yeah, no, you are.
Okay. So, prom night, son, where you want to stay? You know what I mean? That's me. It's like, they got to, but I think with the balance that Allah has blessed us, because I haven't been the best example, my son, my brother-in-law, student minister Damon, he's the minister in Lexington, Kentucky. So They all went down to spend the weekend. And, you know, he gets up at 5 a.m. in the morning and calls the Adon, and everybody comes to the prayer, babies and everything. Well, they came back home looking at me like, damn, Dad, you really falling short. You know what I'm saying? You know, you know what I'm saying? He's calling the prayer in Arabic, you know, at 5 a.m. and babies getting out of bed, you know, and I'm in there sleep, or, you know, they come home, I'm watching the Family Guy, you know what I'm saying, in the living room, you know, and but I try to be transparent, but you know, with my children, but that's been a big thing is butting heads over what to do with our children in those situations. We have 2 sons. We have a 22-year-old. He's been married for 2 years. And he and his wife, they're both active in, you know, in our study group. Then we have a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's 13. I just have to make sure he wasn't still 12. So he's 13 years old. So there's an age difference, you know, between there. So, but bumping heads, but I think we're more in agreement on our younger son, Nadir, because of some of the mistakes that we made with our older son, Jalil.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. Thank you all for your great questions. Sister Michelle, what has been your greatest trial in marriage, and how did you overcome that?
I'm still overcoming them because I haven't mastered them yet. In the beginning, one of mine was I was really territorial. It was like, this is my side of the room. This is my side of the bed. This is my closet. These are my things. Yes, I grew up in a house just with all women, and so because I didn't have a dad, you know, that actually lived with us, and he wasn't even a part of our life. But so it was just my mom and my sisters and myself. And so I didn't have that male energy, so to speak, you know, just to deal with on a daily basis. And so that was something that was like really challenging for me, you know, like just go into the bathroom, you know, put the seat down, you know, okay, clothes later, put this away, you know, so just certain things that was just different that I didn't have to deal with like on a daily basis. I'm sorry. But, yeah, so I was really, really, really territorial, you know, when it came to that.
Wonderful. Excellent. Okay, well, I want to thank you all for coming on. I got one quick question. When you all talked about, because I'm petty with my decision making and things like that. Like when you all talked about TV shows, that really stuck out to me because I feel like I don't know if I could, you know, be with somebody for the rest of my life who didn't like The Office or Friends or everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some shows I watch, but when you all said it's okay for y'all not to like the same shows that help. I was like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll walk in the bedroom and I'm like, man, I'm not watching this, and I may fall asleep in the living room. You know what I mean? But that's life. It's okay, because what we were doing at first, where like I thought she was really into the stuff that I liked, but she was just doing it trying to please me, but she wasn't making herself, you know, happy. So it's okay, you know.
But the thing about it is that we do have shows that we love watching together, you know. So yes, we have, you know, we have our things that we do that's just him and I. We like old 70s music, you know. Now this is really probably telling our age, but we love 70s music and things like that. So there's certain things that him and I do enjoy together, but then there's certain things that him and I really enjoy by ourselves. And I think that that's the beauty of it. So you have to respect that we are two different people, you know. And so just like what we are taught, that marriage is half of your religion, you know. So it's not two wholes come together, it's two halves coming together to make a whole, but those two halves are different halves. And so that's okay. He really likes chocolate cake. I like lemon cake. You know what I mean? So it's like chocolate cake is good, lemon cake is good. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's okay if someone doesn't like The Office.
He said what?
But somebody else may love something else that you like. You know what I mean? So yeah, so it's okay.
Excellent. I want to thank everyone for watching this wonderful episode of Off the Record this evening, the People's Podcast with Minister Jerald and Sister Michelle. I've learned a lot. I hope you all learned a lot and feel inspired. I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much, Brother Minister, and thank you, Sister Michelle.
Thank you.
Being very honest and loving, and I admire your family from what I see via social media. It's just
your family too.
Yes. And Josh, let me say one thing in closing real quick, if you don't mind, is that is with social media. You know, I try to put on social media who and what I am and what I do. I don't try to put an image up. And you know, I enjoy basketball. I enjoy football. I try to show a balanced picture. You don't know the type of response that has been so encouraging that I get from people who are not in the mosque. And I've had sisters in the community that said it's good to see a Black man post a picture with his children. So I'm in the park with my arms around both of my sons, and as I look at it, when you look on social media, you don't see men really posting pictures with their significant other, with their children, with family. You know, it's almost like that part of our life is secret, you know. Yes, and we have an image. So I just try to, you know, I'm learning to be more authentic, and I just want to encourage other brothers to do that, because it is a freeing element to it.
Okay, and I have one more question for both of y'all, because what you just said, I got to follow up. My sister Naima's jokingly says The Office is a deal breaker for her. I'm not like, no, this is a deal breaker. Okay, but what I wanted to ask you all is, in the era of social media, because what you just said, Brother Minister, can get me in trouble with anybody who ever liked me. But like, see, I told you, Josh, it's nothing wrong with showing somebody that you're interested in. You know, this might be the future, blah 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 blah. How important is that in the process of like courting, or if you're not married yet, when should you say this is who I'm going to get married to, or I'm proposing to, or should you just keep it quiet until you're married? I'll start with you, Sister Michelle.
Well, I like to say I'm very antisocial on social media, so I'm not like the social media type person. I think that once you know, then you can say something. I don't think that it's important to really advertise. Just me personally, I don't think that that's what's important to me. It's just this you and that person really trying to get to know one another, and then once you all decide to take it further, and if you want to announce it, so be it, and if you don't, then don't.
Okay, excellent.
So maybe I'm not the right person to ask, because I'm not.
Can you repeat the question? Can you repeat the question again? I want to make sure I have a clear understanding of what you're asking.
Yes, I'm saying if you're not married and you're courting someone and you're about to propose or whatever the plans is, but you're not officially married yet, when should you post the picture or make an announcement? Because in some cases, some sisters might be like, you post these women, you post famous people, you post, how come I can't be publicly known? That, you know what I'm saying? I can't be claimed to feel like you hide me in a dark type situation. So
wow, man, that's a generational you know, question. I think, to me, it's what frightens me about that is it seems to be too much focus on what other people are seeing and on an image.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have to just stop myself. You know, it's like my son has a, you know, he's got a pit bull, and I'm afraid to death of dogs, but so I had like my shirt off and a t-shirt. I was looking all hard, standing in like a prison pose, holding the dog. I said, and I was this close to putting it on social media. I said, I can't do that. I'm Minister Farrakhan's representative. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, I think there's too much. I think there's too much focus on social media. There's a lot of studies out that if you post X amount of selfies within a week, that is actually now classified as a psychological disorder. You know, it is. It's a psychological. It's mental health. It's a mental health issue, and social media, it has really it has taken over our lives, you know, in the wrong way. And that I think it may have been 2013 that they said in a particular state, in 50% of divorce proceedings, the words Facebook was mentioned as the reason for the divorce. You know, so some of the infidelity and some of the other things. But see, people, you know, brother Nuri always talks about that social media is our highlight reel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, we're not going to show us. You know, I threw a house shoe at you because I'm mad at you. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, or what, dinner ain't ready. You know, we don't post all of that. We just post what we want people to see. Yes, so you see people that they have this image and all these pictures, and then 2 or 3 months later, it's all gone because the relationship went sour. I think it should just be authentic, and it should be real.
Right.
And if someone had too much of a concern for social media, it will be a concern of mine that you have this much concern for. When I see friends of mine doing a lot of posts, I know something's going on with them, so I may try to reach out to them, brother, you okay? Because I mean, you've been doing a lot of live feeds, or you've been doing this, because but people are lonely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
People are lonely, and social media puts us at each other's. You know, we're just a finger touch away from hitting a button on the phone, and but
false sense of appreciation.
Right, a false sense of appreciation. I had one brother that a friend of mine in the community, he's a small business owner. He told me, he said, Brother Muhammad, man, I just wanted to call you. He said, I've been off social media. He said, I was waking up every day and checking how many likes I was getting. And if I didn't get at least 100 likes, he said, bro, I was getting depressed. You know, and he said, Brother Muhammad, I can't live my life based off of how people respond to me on social media. This was just a brother from the community.
Right.
You know, just reaching out. And I said, wow, I said, brother, that's great that you had that type of insight, you know, to even try to put that discipline, you know, on yourself. But like, if you look at what you're using social media for,
right.
I mean, not only is, if we help one person, all praise is due to Allah, but this has helped me, and it's almost been like marriage auditing, because it's caused me to think about things that we haven't, you know, it's taken me on a journey. I mean, you literally walked me through 24 years. You know, and that's a blessing, because you know the Quran says that Allah hates ingratitude, and I think that's the number one thing wrong with all of us, is that we're too ungrateful. Yes, sir. And once we learn to appreciate what we have, Allah will start giving us more of what we want.
Praise be to Allah. Wonderful. I think that's a perfect note for us to end this wonderful podcast on. I thank you all very much again, for Minister. Thank you, Sister Michelle. And I thank you all for watching Off the Record. This will be on YouTube this evening. Like, subscribe, and share to Off the Record. All right.
Thank you. Wa alaikum salam, sir. Thank you.